quick, so we'll check in like a moment.
Okay.
I just need someone to check.
We're live. Oh, okay. Okay, it's good. It's good that we're live. It's fine. Yeah, we're live.
Okay.
We're live. I need to find some Homestuck music that is dramatic. Oh wait, shit, I can just use fucking Cherubim. That's a perfect fit. And then does anybody need the link to the page?
Yes.
Okay, here it is. That is not the right link. There we go.
There you go.
Let me just turn off my TV, which has Animal Crossing on it. Right now we're on a like a pre-stream thing going on. Okay. Where else can I advertise that? Oh,
Okay.
fucking.
I'm back.
Oh god. I hear my dad outside, and I think he's gonna walk up my house and knock on the door. And I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind if he does.
What chapter are we on?
We are on 16 of meat.
Hello?
16 of meat.
Hello.
I didn't quite do the thing.
I know.
Okay, I'm gonna be the narration, and Dirk, anybody want to take Rose?
I can do Rose.
Oh,
Alright.
just Dirk and Rose? Okay.
When I was a child, I wrote a
Meat.
novel.
Fuck. Meat 16.
Hello.
Hello. Okay.
Ah.
When I was a child, I wrote a novel.
Rose is speaking with her eyes closed. She is wary, but standing for now, near one of Dirk's work tables. She has both hands resting on the chassis of his recent project, Sawtooth 3.1. The energy humming inside of its mechanical heart warms her palms. Dirk snorts, but in a good-natured sort of way. That's the closest he usually gets to laughing. Another one of those Lalonde childhood wizard fics, I presume? He leans his elbow on the table and stares at her over the rims of his shades. The weight of Dirk's scrutiny is potent. She looks away.
Complacency of the learned.
Ah, the wizard fic, then.
Yes, of course, it was nothing like the polished masterpiece penned by the middle-aged version of myself from your world, nor did the saga span as many volumes. 13-year-old Rose only managed to draft the one, it shames me to say.
How pathetic.
I know.
Rose steps back, trailing her fingers over the rivets that line Sawtooth 3.1's chest. Eyes closed again, she passes in front of the window. With the sunset behind her, she's a shadow ringed in yellow light that turns white at the tips of her hair.
Though I must say, in defense of young Rose's literary integrity, having carefully studied all volumes of the Elder's work, and then revisited my youthful preteen scribbles of passion, I observed more power and emotion in the single ragged notebook than the full span of the best-selling series. It's more raw. It betrays considerably more sincerity than my young self was surely ever aware of stitching into the prose. It meant something.
She turns to look at him.
For all its plainly evident amateurism as the literary product of a child, I've come to believe it's a much stronger work standing alone as a single volume, its meaning and symbolism potently compressed, and its message shining through more nakedly, undisguised by the cleverness of a more seasoned writer. But the basics are the same as the series you've read. The plot concerns the machinations of 12 wizard children. They revolt against the complacency of the wise, kind wizards and go on to become responsible for great evils. It isn't their intent to commit atrocities or within their nature to do so originally. They become corrupted by an overabundance of knowledge, the kind never meant for the mortal mind to grasp.
Yeah, this sounds pretty close to my recollection of it.
It certainly wasn't the most fucked up thing I've ever written, but it was the most psychologically potent, the most personal, easily. But the personal aspects to it were all telegraphed through allegory and esoteric symbolism. I wrote it in what would be best described as fevered haze, as if I were pulling inspiration from beyond myself channeling the story. Rather than writing it, you could almost call the process.
He runs a hand through her hair, fanning it into a halo that is suspended in the air for a moment, trailing spider webs of gold that dissolve into dust. She's smirking now, just a little.
Enlightened?
That sucked.
Yes.
It also sounds like it's the opposite of what was going on. Sounds more like you were trapped in a sort of dire creative fugue state, causing you to chart your own mental profile using metaphor revolving around murderous, omniscient children.
Well, consider the playful pun rescinded. Apologies for diminishing your presence with my suboptimal health and the toll it has taken on my wordplay.
Thanks. It's been super difficult for me.
You've been a real trooper. Anyway, my point is that I've long suspected my story was a pre-manifestation of my Seer of Light powers. I was seeing beyond my universe into another. My original thesis was that the children represented the 12 trolls who created our universe. But over the years, I have come to see how malleable any apparent fact of numerological significance can be. Adaptable, actually. Adaptable to shifting circumstance, changes in settings, stakes, and allied ensembles.
12. That's how many players went through the door at the end of our game.
Exactly. My friends and yours, as well as Kanaya, Karkat, Terezi, and Calliope.
Dirk settles in against the wall beside Rose, shoulder to shoulder. She seems to take some measure of comfort in the physical proximity. When she finds herself leaning against him, probably without thinking about it, Dirk imagines, because neither of them really do that, he doesn't pull away. If it's her, it's alright. He won't begrudge her a small weakness now. You describe this as a fact of numerological significance, which makes it seem you suspect these correlations are something less than utterly providential. As if there is a part of you holding on to the belief that certain figures are coincidental, that their significance and repetition smacks of bullshit.
Do they not smack of bullshit?
They smack of a bunch of things, and a bunch of other things also happen to smack of bullshit. But the network of relations isn't perfectly traceable, nor can they all be mapped on a one-to-one basis. It's unclear exactly which things are smacking, just as it's unclear that when it comes to bullshit, whether or not smacking accurately describes what is being done per se. Rose looks up to Dirk with a ghost of a smile that she inherited from him. On her face, its blackness is as enigmatic as the Mona Lisa's.
Could it be that it is you who is smacking of bullshit, dear father?
Nah, a smack of many admirable qualities, as well as keen insights. She doesn't seem to have another fucking god damn it, I hate words.
Riposte.
Riposte.
Thanks. Thank you for posting the Mona Lisa in the chat, Hashron. The actual Mona Lisa. I would have expected some kind of edit, but it's just the actual Mona Lisa, which makes it funnier.
Here's the thing, when I first looked at it, I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't look like the Mona Lisa entirely, and I thought it was a 3D render of the Mona Lisa.
Because the thing is, because of my setup,
Okay.
my recording program, OBS, is sitting right on top of the face, so I expected to tab into Discord and see the face as something else, and it was just the actual Mona Lisa, which was probably funnier than it being an edit.
It still just looks like a 3D render of the Mona Lisa to me.
Okay, give me a minute. God.
Oh no.
You're making me choke on the meat.
She doesn't seem to have another riposte to return, but her gaze lingers. She stares into his shades as if convinced she could see past them. Dirk allows their eyes to meet. I'm just saying, it's all evidence of a grand design, an immortal metatextual apparatus beyond our ken that we can only catch glimpses of when we're metatextual apparatus beyond our ken that we can only catch glimpses of when we're proverbially shitting our brains out through our nose, which both you and I know.
Which only you and I know, apparently, which is precisely my question.
Her gaze drifts towards the ceiling.
In my story, all 12 of the disciples fell victim to the vagaries of power. They were filled with the light of knowledge, and one by one they succumbed to it, turning insane or evil, or most often both. If this is the effect unchecked powers have on players living in a post-canon victory state, then why isn't it affecting any of our other friends?
Well, I got a few theories. She shoots him a look. It's the kind of look Kanaya gives her sometimes.
Only a few.
I mean, some of us have stopped using our powers completely. Not a whole lot of need for emergency resurrection or complex timeline manipulation on a planet that's never had a conflict more serious than a sports ball riot or a rumpled hats shortage. But even aside from how often they're used, some powers don't lend themselves to the infinite expansion of one's mind the way ours do.
I see. So what you're saying is, it's more of a matter of one's aspect than it is whether one's power are practiced further, or allowed to atrophy.
Yep.
In that case,
Rose sways suddenly.
perhaps Terezi had the right idea. Getting away from this place, I mean. Maybe I was a fool for imagining I could settle down here.
She jerks away from the wall in a tortured ragdoll motion, one hand snapping out vainly for something to brace herself against. She staggers forward a bit. Dirk doesn't reach out to steady her. Anyone else might have had the empathetic reflex to do so. Maybe it says something about him that he lacks this reflex. And maybe it says something about Rose that she prefers it this way. Try as she might to convince herself otherwise, through marriage vows and occasional banter about adoption with her wife, she is still a solitary creature. She gasps, sucks breath down her throat, and squeezes her eyes shut so hard a tear rolls out. She slides back down the wall, sitting on the floor to save her energy. She's mostly composed when she raises her head. There's bitter laughter at the edge of her words.
How are you handling this so well? I assumed it was just that feigned Strider stoicism, but you seem to be taking this.
In stride. I won't lie, it's definitely making me feel pretty crazy. Dirk stands over her, adjusts his hair, crosses his arms. He makes no motion to bother joining her on the floor. He looks very together. He says the word crazy with the same intonation with which he might say good morning. Hard to believe he means it at all. But I've got more practice at this than you do. I spent most of my life before the game multitasking my entire fucking subconscious. I've had several times my age on paper to contemplate these mysteries. Years of prying open can after can of worms filled with answers I don't like. Cut yourself on the edge more than once and you stop getting surprised by all the blood.
I see.
Rose wraps her hands around her upper arms like there's a winter chill rattling through the workshop. She shivers.
It's not the headaches that concern me most. In fact, I don't think it's the expansion of my powers that is causing the headaches, but rather my own resistance to it. Sometimes I get this feeling that I could, if I really wanted to, just let go. It would be as easy as opening my eyes. It's like that feeling you get when you're far enough out of a dream to be conscious of it, but not yet awake. I'm caught in the liminal space between reality and reverie, where people once believed demons dwelled, but the only reason the demon is still sitting on my chest is because I refuse to banish it. All it would take is looking directly at it. I'm forcing myself to stumble through my life as a sleepwalker, All this pain and sorrow could go away if I would just allow myself to wake up.
Then why don't you?
Because I'm not sure that the person opening her eyes will be me.
Her voice is lost at sea, swallowed by the swell of darkness lurking in her imagination. This time, Dirk does reach out to steady her. He kneels in front of her, curls a knuckle under her chin, and lifts her face up to his level. Then, in a deliberate motion, he pulls off his shades. I understand, completely. Rose's eyelids flutter heavily. She meets the intensity of his naked gaze aloofly, like she's not aware this is the first time he's ever let her see it. I know I sound pretty nonchalant most of the time, but actually, I'm scared shitless of myself. I've always had this uncanny ability to chart a course from A to Z and not give a fuck about any of the letters in between. I'm not sure anyone should be allowed to have that much foresight, especially a guy like me.
What upsets me most, I think, is the distance this is all putting between me and everyone I know. The farther above the board you fly, the harder it gets to care about the pieces.
I hear ya. And personally speaking, things usually work out for the best when all those pieces do exactly what I say. So I'm also probably not the kind of guy who should get to be right all the time. Rose laughs softly. She's not scared of this abyss she's staring into at all. She doesn't even think to look away.
There's really not an inch of humility in you, is there?
I've just spent a lot of time in my own head. Maybe the absolute self-absorption is the inevitable outcome, when the self is all you've ever known, when you're drowning in it. I know there's plenty of things that suck about me. No point feigning humility about the things that don't. And yes, I may be a shitty human being, but as a mechanic, I'm off the fucking charts. Rose's eyes have grown distant, almost mirror-like. Dirk can see himself reflected in her vacant stare.
All the pieces in their place. The mechanisms all running smoothly.
She says this in a hollow tone. It's the disarming voice a puppeteer ventriloquizes for a marionette. Her head falls toward her shoulders slowly. Dirk catches her cheek as she slides into sleep. Difficult for the untrained ear to spot the exact moment in their conversation when the words she was saying stopped being hers and started being his. Or maybe they were her words. Does it really matter? In many respects, they're basically the same person, aren't they? Kindred spirits in blood and perspective, the puppet masters of the respective games they like to believe they're playing. But you already knew that, right?
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to that this entire fucking time.
Oh my god!
Was my delivery good?
No, it was great.
Oh, I felt so good. I've been looking forward to that this whole fucking time. I'm so happy that I finally fucking said that. Oh my god. Okay, so what do we think about this chapter?
I think that was really good.
North?
This is why I race it. This is why I rated it.
I don't think I can talk about anything.
Oh god. Oh god.
That's awful.
Oh god. I'm putting it on the stream.
Oh.
I should make a better GIF.
This is
Here.
this is perfect.
I guarantee if you post it on Twitter, it's gonna get stolen 5 times over and get super popular.
Yeah, this is like the fucking the cringe gif. You know the one?
Nope.
You know the hang on. Let me see if I can find it.
I literally just pulled on some vertices.
Like this one.
Aww.
Oh. Turned into a piece of bubble gum. I like this chapter a lot.
It's my favorite chapter in the whole thing.
It's a lot of nerds talking, so I kind of slept through it. Sorry, what happened?
Oh my god. that was so good.
What do you think happened?
What do I think happened?
Yeah.
I mean, we just fucking read it. And we're gonna
Yeah.
find out in the next chapter more about it.
This is the chapter you stopped on, correct?
No, we stopped on M25 before.
Oh, okay. I thought it was this chapter. Alright, that's cool.
No, M25 is also pretty good. Okay, so I get to do a lot of reading, which is fun.
I have a feeling that people aren't going to be able to ask me my opinions from here on out.
Why?
Please, tell me your opinion. I need your opinion now. Tell me.
I don't think I can comment.
I'm curious.
Yes, exactly. Exactly, sweetie, can't comment.
You like Dirk, huh? Dirk's a good character. We all like Dirk here.
And dog sleeping.
I'm gonna rename the chat. I'm gonna rename it.
Dirt Squad.
Yes, good.
Hell yeah!
I don't like Dirt. He's boring.
I'm just gonna post this as a screen cap so that way I can put it on the stream easily. Oh wait, I can just do this.
Get it. Who's a
Okay.
good girl?
That works.
Now we know.
Okay.
Oh, shush.
I'm gonna take I'm gonna drink some water.
Oh, boy.
I'm gonna change the text on the fucking OBS. You alright?
Oh my god.
Yeah, Otto, are you okay?
No, yeah, I'm fine. I just got like mini airheads right here. I'm just munching on these.
Who's a good dog, Stinky? Is it you? Is it girl? Yes, it's you.
Oh, the icon got changed.
Pretty girl. Pretty
Yeah, yeah.
girl.
This is the stream chat now. I'm gonna post this.
But this is what I am.
I'm gonna post this image on Twitter because I think it's really funny. Okay.
Is there like a Homestuck ad appearing like underneath every single tab you open?
What do you mean?
Whenever I open up not a new tab, but like a new page,
Oh,
it pops up on the bottom for like.
ever since last 413, I've been using adblock on Homestuck.com.
Well, am I not?
Hey, Otto.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I am.
I think I'm gonna need to look up some articles after this.
I mean,
What?
it's an ad for Homestuck itself, so.
That's so weird. I mean, I used adblock to like manually block some ads, but I don't see any here.
I wasn't using adblock. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
They were literally advertising Homestuck to me.
Okay, I'm gonna do the chapter now.
Okay, you can do the chapter.
Meet
17. Hello.
17.
Hello.
Hello.
And welcome. Welcome to
calm
Meet 17.
None of my friends had noticed it yet, but you have. You have the ability to read between the lines, to understand that our lives are blighted by this undercurrent of subtext, of narrative significance. Anyone paying attention could have guessed by now who's really telling this story. You're not so innocent either. I've caught you leering at some pretty personal moments. Are you having fun being a voyeur? Just violating the shit out of everyone's privacy? Are these teenage romantic entanglements panning out the way you wanted? They never do. Maybe it helps being able to see everyone's thoughts described in plain sight, broadcasting the internal conflicts, the compromises, the doubts. Does it make it easier for you to accept the emotional faltering, the missteps, the basic inability to reach out and seize the opportunity for happiness repeatedly dangled in their faces? Knowing their thoughts are transcribed by a third party, does it fill you with a sense of unease, of sickness? sensing that the observations made of their mental inferiors may be tainted. Who the hell do I think I am? I can hear you wondering. You know who I am, of course. The better question is, who do you think you are? What exactly is so special about you? Nothing, of course. I am specific. I have a name, an agenda, a vision. I am a monolith of concentrated narrative authority, relaying events to you and swaying them as I see fit. Whereas you are pointedly non-specific, you are generalized, impotent witness to all this. You are the generalized, impotent witness to all this. You are essentially as beholden to me as those whose lives I describe. I even have the ability to decide what you actually means. I can take the you-ness away from you and put it inside another passive mark, such as John Egbert. You didn't even notice when I did it, and you had no objections then. Why would you object now? What makes John so special? The answer is something I'm sure you've suspected all along, but would rather not face, which is probably nothing. He isn't special. He's quite ordinary, I assure you. Boring, even, and getting less interesting by the minute, as he's forced to confront his absolute lack of heroic purpose, except as a pawn to be manipulated by a fatalistic reality. But I'd also like to make it clear, he's not even that remarkable in his unremarkableness. He's simply convenient for it. Anyone can be endowed with this you-ness, if I think it achieves a certain goal, even if the objective is to merely demonstrate the gambit's potential, to reveal the effortlessness behind it, to make a show of who matters and who doesn't, even if they do matter, for how long and for what purpose, as dictated solely by the allocation of this faculty. You-ness can be stripped from the lowly Egbert just as easily as it was given, and then bestowed upon the mighty circuit, but even then only long enough to dismiss the vainglorious spotlight hog from narrative forever. Ugh. But even then, only long enough to dismiss the vainglorious spotlight hog from the narrative forever. Good riddance. But I haven't revealed myself to you just to boast about the abilities arising from the gradual obliteration of the constraints of my consciousness. I've only taken a moment to answer a few questions. Not one I heard you ask, because again, you are non-specific and therefore do not matter, but ones I imagined you asking, and by imagining these questions they became less fake, and as such demanded similarly non-fake answers. No, in truth, the time has come to make my presence known in order to start bringing my plans to fruition. It's time to get down to fucking business. John needs to wake up.
Fuck.
So what were your thoughts on this chapter? Please let me, Dirk, your omniscient narrator, know what you thought.
Why is the book talking about me? That's not nice.
I thought this
calling
one.
me a nothing. Why are you calling me a nothing? I do lots of things. I play my Nintendo Switch. I play my VR. You can't just say I'm doing nothing. I'm at home.
Yeah, I'm not doing nothing either. I'm doing what I always do. I'm eating.
I was supposed to finish a project today that I started like 6 days ago.
You're doing nothing.
Yeah, I'm doing nothing. North? Hey, North.
What are you talking about? I don't exist.
What'd you... Yes, you do. What'd you think?
No,
God damn it. I'm gonna drive on down to fucking Florida or wherever you are now. And I'm gonna...
Not Florida.
I know you're not in Florida, but that's the first thing I thought of.
Go ahead and drive down to Florida. Go get Corona.
Go get Tennessee. That's where he is.
Well, you could drive out Florida to see me, but okay. I live there.
Oh.
I'll drive down to Florida and I'll add Hadron to my RPG party.
And then you'll go over to Tennessee and get him.
Yeah.
And I'll just be here. Alone.
Okay. So So that chapter was pretty good.
Yeah, I did like that. It was very good.
I know for a fact that I'm not a fan of M19, but I'm gonna power through it. I'm gonna do it. What is this gif? I see. I see. I see.
I don't know what you see. I don't know what you're talking about. I just thought it was cute.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Alright.
There's two cute little bunnies.
Just something cute. Yeah, no, that's it. Meet 18.
I guess I'm voicing John.
Oh right.
There.
Oh yeah, you're John. So we did it. We're back.
Yeah, we're actually reading.
You wake up.
Oh, there are swear words in this, so please keep your eyes peeled.
What?
He's
What?
talking to me.
Oh, okay.
Well, what?
You open your eyes. Actually, you're not sure they're open. Everything is intolerably bright. Like it was inside the juju, but worse. Did you go blind? Are you dead? Is your ghost dead? You spend a couple seconds filing through miserable worst-case scenarios, but then you see it, your own blood, floating around you in a nimbus of shiny, taut bubbles. You reach out to touch one and it bursts around your finger.
Ew.
You finally possess the true magnitude of what has happened. The furthest ring has been completely destroyed, and you're all alone. Everything hits you all at once. The light, your memories of the battle, the untethered sensation of weightlessness. It's a hammer stroke that hits you in the center of the head. It splits like rivers through your gray matter. The pain and disorientation goes all the way down your throat. You double over and, well, you're vomiting up everything in your stomach. Rest assured, it's pretty gross, and I don't think anyone needs an explicit account of the way you're disgorging your entire gut in zero gravity, or the way it's coating your entire torso in puke from your long blue hood to your silly yellow slip-ons. You seriously need to get it together. You look like absolute shit right now, my man. In fact, you really should strongly consider issuing an apology for the mess you're making.
I'm sorry.
Who are you talking to, dude? Nobody's around for miles. Everyone's dead. Well, almost everyone. But certainly the vast majority of what qualifies as everyone in your current frame of reference. Every single person and every single thing nearly literally has been sucked into that monstrous black hole up there, including every single fragment of black, empty space that used to provide the canvas for this bleak continuum. And most of your friends, Rose, Dave, Absurd Cat Dave, and hundreds of ghosts who all valiantly contributed to a victory which you're only now beginning to question the functional necessity of.
That said valiantly?
Functional necessity? That doesn't sound like something I would think.
That's because it's not.
What the?
Fuck.
You finally noticed. No, not me. You go back to ignoring the fact that I'm the voice in your head. You noticed how it hurts when you breathe. Suddenly you remember. Lord English's tooth is still embedded in your chest. You panic, wrap your hands around the base, give it a little tug. It's excruciating. The tooth makes an awful grating sound as it grinds along one of your ribs. You gasp and lose your grip, biting the inside of your mouth so hard that you taste blood. Can't blame you for trying, but I wouldn't do that if I were you. Without someone to administer proper medical care, you'll bleed to death pretty much instantly. On the other hand, the tooth is poisoned, You're pretty much fucked either way. That's all there really is to say on the matter. You sigh in painful resignation and wonder what to do next. English is dead, so you suppose you can go home, right? It's tempting. You consider zapping back to Earthsea, being done with this nightmare for good, and never breathing a word of it to anyone ever again. But you can't yet, can you? Why not, you wonder? What's the harm? And you're right. You're right. It would probably be a harmless decision in the grand scheme of things. Certainly the easiest thing to do. But what about your friends? You saw Rose and Dave die with your own eyes. You saw countless ghosts getting swallowed by a voracious singularity. How about Jade, though? You could still be out there somewhere. Injured, alone, scared. And it's your fault, isn't it?
It's all my fault.
You decide that no matter how terrible you feel, you should look around first before you leave. You were the one who dragged her here. You owe her at least that much. Plus, there's someone else on your mind, isn't there? You proceed to wander for a long fucking time. Time passes differently here than it does for everyone else. Here, I'll simulate it for you. I just left to go take a piss. Then I microwaved myself a Hot Pocket. Then I came back. In the time it took me to do that, you just spent hours drifting around the entire circumference of the black hole, thinking sad sack thoughts about years of inaction that led you to this point, intermittently humming the Ghostbusters theme to yourself. You get so worked up about one of your GB freestyles that you almost miss it. There, 11 o'clock. Do you see it? It's that tiny dot floating over there.
Frick, there's no sun. How can it be 11 o'clock? Huh?
You scramble to catch it before it drifts any closer to the event horizon. Got it. What the hell? Feels familiar, but you want to make sure you're not imagining it. A wallet. Your dad's wallet. You chew your lip and press your fingers into the soft leather. Space is an infinitely large expanse, and a wallet is a tiny, insignificant object. Sure, there have been crazier coincidences in the course of this wacky adventure you've been having for the past 10 years, but this one feels very precisely aimed at your heart. You take a deep breath, unfold the wallet, and open it. So once again, this is your narrator, Dirk, asking you what you thought about this chapter.
And in the wallet is money and car keys. You know? Just
Money for gas.
Like a normal human person. Yeah,
You're
exactly.
gonna... Well, there's just a note written on the inside that says, "Here's some money for gas, have fun dying in space."
I'm proud of you, son. Good job dying.
We're proud of you for dying in space.
My great-grandfather only wished to die in space, and now you can.
I'm so proud that you're dying in space. I always wanted an astronaut son.
That's good.
Alright, let me edit the,
Oh boy, lots of jade coming. I better stop eating airheads.
Wait a minute. We just read 18? We're at 19 already. God damn it.
Yeah.
This is gonna
Yeah,
suck.
short.
Okay, so we need someone for Jade. That goes
I'm
to...
here.
Yeah. Calliope. And Roxy.
Okay, I guess I could do, like, I already know how to do Roxy. I could try Calliope.
Hadron, do you want to try Calliope? I want to hear a British accent.
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Calliope.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll just take Calliope, it's fine.
Sorry,
Let me get
I'm
some
bad
water.
at accents.
No, it's fine, it's fine. I'm getting some water.
I feel like I would just be rude to some of my friends who have accents. If I were doing accents, and no.
You mean literally every person on the planet?
Yes. I am doing a disservice to every human being on this earth and the other ones.
The other ones?
Yeah, there's more. You just gotta look for them.
Like Mars.
And the people on the space station.
Yeah.
That counts as a planet?
It counts as a satellite. That's true.
Meet 19.
Bro.
Anyway, back to the B plot. Right about now, Jade should be wrapping up her political presentation to Roxy and Callio, using a lot more graphs and far fewer words than Dave did when roping her into the election. Her approach is definitely more heady, but it's also more accessible. Jade's got this disarming combo of head-in-the-clouds flightiness and the kind of legit down-to-earth cred that can only be earned by having done something like cutting open your own grandfather and stuffing him full of polyurethane foam.
So you see, Jane's neoliberal austerity measures.
Roxy groans upon hearing the phrase neoliberal austerity measures for no less than the third time in this presentation.
As I outlined here in Graph B2, and here in Figure A6, and here in this very spooky drawing I dictated to Callie, great drawing by the way, will no doubt lead to a whole bunch of ugly societal backlashes, not just in economic terms, but on a number of other more serious vertices that we've been lucky enough to avoid on New Earth so far.
You don't say.
I do say! The thing is, Jane is an establishment leader. She's looking at doing things the way our old universe did them. She's pretty convinced that she's going to be able to replicate the capitalist hierarchies that Earth had, but in a more responsible way. But none of that stuff actually worked.
And you think Karkat can do better?
I think it's worth it to give him a chance. He's a leader of the people, and he's experienced firsthand what happens when establishments go too far, which I imagine you can sympathize with.
Jade takes a deep breath, panting a little. Her graphs are floating around the living room in disarray. She spins them around her, gliding her hands through the air like a conductor before folding the pages together and shrinking them to pocket size.
And that's my pitch!
Roxy and Calliope exchange a look. I'm going to get us tea and snacks. Would you like some, Jade?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Any preferences?
Pumpkin matcha if you have it.
Of course. I'll be right back. Calliope excuses herself from the conversation and flees to the kitchen, seemingly making no attempt to disguise the fact that she is in fact fleeing. Jade deflates as she watches her go, sensing that her presentation wasn't quite the slam dunk she was hoping for.
So, what do you think?
Well, I gotta say, this has been a hella convincing argument all, but I don't know if I can help you out.
What? Why not?
Roxy presses her lips together, then bounces her palms on her knees. Her gaze slides east right out the window. She and Calliope live in a belfry above New Prospect. One end of their living room is in an oriel window that looks out over a public part. The other disappears into an arcading hallway, lit at the far end by a giant stained glass window that Calliope has made herself. The corbels supporting it have windy, abstract shapes carved into them. This room reminds Jade of her childhood home, except that it's bright and warm and not inhabited in all corners by corpses and ghosts. That's why she can't settle down. That's what keeps Jade Harley flitting from one couch... That's what keeps Jade Harley flitting from couch to couch, relationship to relationship. She can't stop thinking to herself that home comes awfully close to rhyming with alone. Home is John, who doesn't call anymore. Home is when Rose and Kanaya welcome her in from a cold night and help her set lyrics to her sick bass lines. Home is here, noting at Roxy's irreverent method of storytelling and admiring Callie's art. Home is Dave and Karkat, especially Dave and Karkat. Jade knows that this election is important for a number of reasons, but let's not mistake her enthusiasm for some kind of humanistic altruism. Girl's got personal reasons for doing all this. Jade drifts down to sit cross-legged on the couch beside Roxy. She stares at her with a doggish expression, eyes wide, head lolling to the side, till she gets an answer.
I just don't really care about politics that much, I guess.
Roxy turns to face Jade again, smiling apologetically.
Also, this election is all kinds of personal. I mean, if I came into your house and asked you to make some grand political whatever against your BFF, would you be all, oh yeah, sign me the fuck up? I'm all about that sowing of discord among my childhood friends.
Shit, I lost my place. Okay, there I am. Let me guess. Dirk got to you first?
Not even. I got no problem telling Dirk where to stick it, Lamau, but Dirk's not the one running.
You think he's not the one pulling the strings behind the scenes?
Sure, but give Janie a little credit. She's got more moxie and ambition in her pinky than the rest of us got all together. She's been planning this for years, but she's,
Ruthless?
Roxy frowns. Jade is being pretty unfair.
Fragile. She's gotta be Miss Perfect all the time for the billboards and press meetings. Always wearing those power suits trying to look like a big bad bitch.
You mean like the Condess?
Wow. Ouch.
I'm not just imagining it though, right? You see it too. Not to dredge up something horrible from your history, but her whole image is just kind of woof.
Is that what you guys think? You and Dave and Karkat?
Well, yeah.
Roxy leans forward and stares Jade down, like she's searching for something behind Jade's eyes. Jade unwittingly responds in kind, looking for meaning behind Roxy's gaze, but she comes up empty. And to be honest, so do I. In the spirit of full disclosure, Roxy's the only one left I haven't been able to crack. Her mind remains a total enigma to me, just like it always has. If I had to guess, it's her void powers that make her invisible, even to increasingly omniscient parties such as myself. For all intents and purposes, it's like her thoughts don't exist. She's the same person as far as I can tell. She still wears her heart on her sleeve, but the bottom line remains. Roxy Lalonde is still utterly fucking inscrutable.
Well, Jane's not perfect.
Roxy shrugs and runs a hand through her hair, which has been recently cut shorter than usual.
And I don't know if she'll be a good president, but she's not Betty Crocker. And I love her, and I don't want to hurt her feelings. And that's pretty much all there is to say on the matter.
Calliope returns from the kitchen with 3 cups, a handmade teapot, and some candied cakes. Jade finally relents.
Fine. I understand. Callie, what about you?
Calliope sets down the snacks and brushes Jade's skirt aside so she can sit down. She puts a claw to her mouth and makes a facial expression more complicated than you'd think a skull would be capable of. Oh, I'd rather stay uninvolved, thank you. I feel like interfering in both politics and a personal argument between my friends would be impolite as well as kind of stressful, to be honest.
Yeah, sorry, Callie. I probably shouldn't have put all that on you.
Less apologizing, more snacking. So it's hard to go from, like, those are 2, like, polar opposite ranges that I'm trying to do here. There's, like, the high British, and then there's, like...
And then there's fucking low ass.
Calliope claps her hands together. It's a bright noise. Her tone of voice is bright, too, all these years, and she still can't believe that she has so many friends. She smiles at Jade, and Jade smiles back. The tea tastes great. The cakes are even better. Callie's an artist in everything she does.
Wow, Callie, you're such an amazing hostess. Roxy, you're so lucky to have her.
Roxy giggles awkwardly. She gives Jade a gentle jostle, an elbow to the ribs, and lowers her voice.
Psst, not her. Them.
Oh.
Jade tenses up and pales, turns a wide-eyed look to Calliope, who is still smiling politely. He realizes, a bit too late, the profoundly insensitive nature of her social misstep.
Oh!
He grabs one of Calliope's hands.
Oh, well, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to be culturally insensitive. Have I just been stupidly calling you a girl for years, like a big fat dummy? Oh no, I'm such an asshole.
You are absolutely not an asshole. I didn't mind being called a girl. I still don't really mind. It's just not exactly accurate. But I did take comfort in being a girl for a very long time. This is something I've only recently decided.
Yeah.
Roxy pauses, even through the lilt of her voice. Even though the lilt of her voice makes the sentence sound unfinished, she stutters the next part out.
Oh my god! Get the
Me
fuck
too,
down!
actually.
We have an emergency situation.
Sorry,
Cat 1-1.
my cat's getting very antsy. She jumped up behind my monitor and tried to pull it down.
God damn, what an asshole.
She's getting very upset because it's halfway to dinner time. Anyways, let's go on.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Me too, actually.
Hang on.
Yeah? Wait, shit. Wrong reading my...
Okay, I just needed to make sure my fucking music thing was updating. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. You?
Oh yeah, we are both a they household now. Package deal thing. Things are non-binary as fuck around here.
Wait. What?
Really?
Yep, well, I mean, that's probably a dumb and bad way to say it. Don't tell anyone I said it that way, Rob. But yeah, that's about what's going on.
See, when I first read this chapter, I was surprised at how mature they were taking this and the way they were saying it. And then I read this next piece of text, and it made me want to stop reading the entire fucking thing.
Oh my god.
So here we go! Here we go!
I can always read it if you're uncomfortable.
Absolutely not. I must read every bit of orange text.
Alright.
Okay.
Roxy, seriously? Like I said, fucking inscrutable. I never would have guessed. Not that I've spent much time contemplating issues related to gender. I'm pretty secure in my expression of masculinity and... You know what? Fuck this. I don't owe anyone an explanation of any sort on this topic. I'm confident with who I am, what I am, my gender, as well as my understanding of the concept. You want my honest opinion? It's fucking fantastic. Good for them. Both of them, I mean. But also both of them in a singular fashion, since each one can now individually be referred to by the conventionally plural word them. I am ecstatic for this personal development they've embraced, for the people they are, the lack of gender they identify with, and the pronouns they prefer. I've got no problem with it whatsoever, and frankly, it's fucking insulting that anyone would ever imagine otherwise. So yeah, I'm gonna allow it. Carry on.
Wow, that felt good to say aloud, man. Hell of a way to come out.
It's okay. I don't want to make you uncomfortable.
I know.
I'm sorry, the pause there was just really funny to me.
I blanked out for a second. I was like, wait, is there more lines?
It was
And I looked and
appropriate,
like, oh!
I know.
I'm curious. If you need to talk about it, I mean.
Maybe. Callie and I have been talking about it a lot. Unpacking all kind of baggage with their alien stuff and my human stuff. And so I got to thinking, what even is gender, am I right?
Oh, yeah. That makes sense, I guess.
Jade looks at where her hands are folded in her lap, bites her lip. She has her own concerns about this, her own thoughts. Reasonable thoughts, I'd say. But I'll refrain from any further comment. I'm staying away from this subject from now on.
So you're, not doing gender anymore?
Yeah, I guess not. I mean, that was all stuff from our old universe. Why would we even bring it here? Why would we even bring it here, right?
Right.
Calliope takes a tea cake between two of her claws and eats it delicately, hyper aware of the horrible gnashing and snapping her powerful jaw is capable of. Anyone want to take Calliope? Because I'm getting tired of switching between these two very, very different
Alright,
vocal ranges.
I could try it.
My idea is about Jen.
Shit! Between two of their claws. They take a tea cake between two of their claws and eats it delicately. Sorry, my bad.
We're entirely influenced by my time watching Earth. I suppose I only thought of myself as a girl because my brother took masculinity quite seriously. By which I mean, he became very enthusiastic about all the things it's supposedly meant to be a boy. Cherub existence is dichotomous, but not in the same way human biology is. I suppose our view of human culture indirectly influenced Alternia's development, which in turn affected yours, which is something I've had a lot of time to think about since we came here. It's also very circuitous and arbitrary.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when you think about it, so much of what Earthsea thinks what boys and girls should do comes straight from the imagination of a bunch of dumb teens, which is totally fucked.
Sure.
Jade nods quite thoughtfully. She'd be a doggy's fucking uncle if she wasn't gonna come across woke as hell about all this. Truthfully though, it was making sense to her. Eye-opening, really. Why hadn't anyone told her this was even an option when she was younger? She probably would have loved being a they when she was a teen. Fuck that! No! It's not how it fucking works! It's not what it's called! Just fucking being non-binary is the fucking word that you should have used. You fucking dipshit. It doesn't...
He doesn't know! He doesn't know!
Well, Dirk's evil now, so he's gotta be transphobic. He's gotta abandon all of the tenets of his fucking character in order to be evil. He's gotta abandon all of his progress towards being a decent human being in order for this to make sense, guys.
Wow.
We gotta have it make sense.
Wow.
Ah! Okay,
I
moving
mean,
on.
what am I gonna do? Get married and pop out 100 boobies?
Awesome.
No?
Exactly. I mean, once upon a time, I guess I thought about that, but I don't think it's what I really wanted. I just like the idea of me and Dirk making some smart-ass awesome kids together. Because I like the idea of Dirk, and also literally no one else on the entire planet was alive at the time. But we had some babies without even being consulted about it. Anyway, so whatever.
Your kids are pretty cool.
I know, right?
Personally, I'm a big fan.
And like that, Jade's smiling again. The storm clouds pass so quickly in her world, you almost wouldn't have thought there was anything wrong at all. Roxy and Calliope certainly didn't notice. But there is something wrong. And this time, they'll notice. Jade drops her tea. The cup hits the floor and shatters.
Jade?
He takes in a sharp breath. He's not feeling well suddenly. He's dizzy, feverish, seeing things beyond her field of vision. A blinding flash of light. A black, perfect circle, burning a hole in her eyes. She tries to stand, but her knees wobble and knock together. Roxy shoots out of her seat and catches her before she hits the floor.
Oh shit. Is she okay? I don't know. Get her cloth from the kitchen and some water.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Roxy eases Jade onto the couch and checks her pulse. She doesn't look bad at all. Jade wears unconsciousness well, having spent the better part of her life napping. Roxy slaps her cheek slightly and says her name, begs her to wake up, but she can't hear her. Jade is somewhere else right now.
But she can't hear them.
Oh,
I need everybody's thoughts on this chapter.
interesting.
Excellent thoughts, everyone. Sorry.
Look, all
Fine.
I'm saying is Dirk is being more of a douche than usual.
The thing is that it's never explained. He's just like this now.
Oh.
He's just like this. There's no deeper meaning behind it. He's just an asshole now. He's evil, and therefore he must be a shit person.
He has gone
Hooray.
full bastard.
I already aired out what my fucking problem with it is.
Finally, evil people.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Okay.
I mean, I like the characters talking about it and all that. Obviously, Dirk was being a little
Yeah.
piece of poo, but you know, hey.
I will
I think
say,
he's also choosing. Well, this is again going along the lines of like, you know, just because it makes sense doesn't mean it's good or whatever.
just because it
But-
makes sense doesn't mean it's good. Go on.
But nobody can hear him, so he's actually, well, aside from us, obviously, which he's aware of. So he's kind of just like airing his pure thoughts out into the void. Like, he's never been exposed to this before, you know? So this is literally his first time, like, hearing anything like this, and
Which
his
means
reaction
it's-
is not
which-
the best.
Which
Trust me.
means it's
He studied the he's I mean it's confirmed that he's studied the history of
of gender
like,
and shit.
the world
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
So do you think the world ever got to the point where it experienced like a gender revolution like we
The
have?
world got to Obama. Yes, it did.
Yes.
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
Fucking Stonewall.
I think then the only thing
Well,
that
Obama and after.
I think the only thing I have to say then is it seems like he has a problem with them pronouns just because it's a plural. And he's
Which-
like, that doesn't make sense.
That still makes
grammatically.
him an asshole.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but at the same time, now that I'm seeing it, like, that actually doesn't make sense. But I mean, like, you know, if you still want to, if you want to go by it, then fine. Like, I'm not going to question nothing. But now I realize, like, wait a minute, you're right, grammatically, it's kind of weird. No wonder I have so much trouble with it.
This is
Grammatically,
linguistically
not the most-
incorrect.
Grammatically, not the most sense, but that's because we're not using it with the American grammar system, which is fucked up anyways.
Yeah, of course, grammar is fucked up anyways. But that's the thing, is like he's focused on the grammar of it and not like what it is now.
People who get mad about linguistics and changes and stuff don't know anything about etymology. Sorry.
This is gonna end up being a shorter stream than usual because we're already on chapter 20, which is the end of our 5.
Because I soon need to feed my cats and then take a walloping shit.
And to be honest, I kind of want to just go back to playing Animal Crossing.
I haven't played in like 2 days.
I was like,
need to play more today. I'm trying to get my next house payment before Nook's thing arrives.
I'm gonna be like behind working on figuring out how to do customization.
the
Yeah,
only
okay.
thing I have to do tomorrow is just gonna be grinding money because I can't repay the debt tomorrow. Because resident services is gonna be gone.
Oh, you're just getting that building. Mine's gonna be there tomorrow.
Fuck.
You can like visit mine and do shit.
North, what were your fucking thoughts on the chapter?
That's his thoughts right there. Giggles. See, that's all you need. Giggle.
Okay. Awesome.
My thoughts are I am thinking about it.
My thoughts are Dirk is an asshole.
Yeah. I will say, even though I absolutely fucking hate that chapter still, that's probably the most fun I've had voicing him so far.
Yeah.
The different cadences. Yeah, the emotion. It's so much more fucking emotion than he usually has, which was
Yeah,
very
he's just a
fun.
Stone cold bastard.
It pretended. That's a pretty good emotional reaction. I
Pretty
relate.
short chapter.
Yeah. Oh, this one?
Mhm.
Yeah, I just get to fucking read and do my voice again.
And then there's one.
I
big
read
word
like
that-
5 lines. What the frick? Well, I'm gonna go to
Meet
bed.
20.
Bye. Hi.
I had one.
Hello. Jade gasps awake, beginning to spiral. Her body vibrates, sending waves of space distortion out in all directions. But there's nothing to absorb those directions. No space, no nothing. She's floating in a void of pure, overwhelming light. She feels it even before she feels the pain from the wound in her chest. The vast emptiness surrounding her. The absolute abyss once known as the furthest ring. For a moment she has a feeling she's recalling something. Images and sounds in her head that resemble memories. But the memories aren't hers exactly. They seem to be someone else's. There's an older version of Roxy, someone with a cheerful green skull for her head, who was Roxy's girlfriend? Something about an election. No, this doesn't make any sense at all. The memories are slipping away anyway. Quickly they dissolve, and soon they're completely out of her mind's reach. Like she's waking from a dream. Just like that, they're gone. All that's left are the memories belonging to her, along with the dire predicament for which she must claim responsibility. Her friends, Lord English, this great nothingness, this savage wound in her chest, that black hole. He looks away from it, quickly, reflexively, the way you turn away from a light source that's too bright. The hole causes the same kind of discomfort to behold. So dark it hurts. Yet it calls her. Her hair spills around her like tentacles unfurling. She coils into a fetal position and runs her fingers along the edge of the shard in her chest. It sends pins and needles under her skin. It's pure, negative potential. The absence of a future. The thing skewering her through right now is the space between breaths, between atoms. She tries to remove it, but has trouble getting a grip on it. It fails to behave like a solid piece of matter, remains lodged within her stubbornly. It hurts, but she won't finish dying. Not just yet. She unfolds, blinking against the vast, empty light around her. Her memories crease as she moves, filling her mind with the knowledge of the last few hours. She's 16, she thinks, trying to orient herself. And she just fought Lord English after being plucked out of a doomed timeline. At least, if you can even call what she did fighting. But what was that dream? It was significant, she knows that much. Dave and Karkat? Why did they jump into her mind as a unit? Earthsea. What's Earthsea? Concepts collide, commingle. Two different understandings of her world knit into each other as easily as she takes her next breath. Urgency bleeds off her neuroreceptors, melts right out of her fingertips. She lets herself float, unmoored, carried along an ebb tide in space that only she can perceive. She wonders if anyone else survived. She wants to see John. She didn't notice the moment she turned her gaze back towards the black hole, but now she couldn't look away if she tried. In slow, hazy spirals it beckons her. The longer she stares at it, the deeper she peers into the folds of an infinite atrophy. The louder it gets. Loud? She only now notices there is a sound emanating from it, but not the kind physical ears can detect. The whole has a voice, one that becomes material the more the expanding black sphere dominates her senses. Jade's wound throbs. She hears the voice fill up the dark space between her ribs. It's calling to her from the center, the death of everything. She kicks off her ruby red slippers and drifts ever closer. North.
Come.
Do you recognize that red text from anywhere?
Yeah.
You had a voice for it. Oh.
Oh. Come.
What the fuck?
I think that's.
Forget
what
I
it's
said
called.
that.
Yeah. Okay.
Jade leans into her accelerating descent. He listens for another command, but the whole has seemingly said all it will. She considers asking who is speaking, but her mouth stays shut, powerless against the forces transfixing her. Jade has no way of knowing who this voice belongs to. He has no context for understanding the true nature of this being, what role she has played in bringing about the end, and how long she has been waiting for this. She has no idea, but I do. The dead cherub is making her move. We should get the fuck out of here. See what Dave's up to, okay? So what do y'all think? Does that perhaps contextualize anything that we saw in the other route?
No, yeah, remember like the dead jade that fell out of the sky.
Mhm.
That's her.
That's why I had such a profound reaction. I was like fucking screaming when I saw that. Oh, when we got to that part in the other route, I was like, what? What?
That was you.
That was me, yeah. That's me.
I liked it. It's pretty good.
That was a good chapter. And I'm gonna... Okay. That was fun. I'm just gonna change the thing on my stream to say 21 so I don't forget to change it next time. That was cool. I really liked that last one. It's pretty good. It made up. Yeah?
Meat goes very quickly.
It does, yeah.
I feel like there's a lot less of me saying, wow, why did this happen? Or, wow, okay. Then in Meat, it's not like that.
Yeah, Meat is kind of...
It's
I guess
jumpy out
there's...
for you.
Yeah. You could even say there's more substance to it. What, did you think I was gonna make a joke about Meat?
I wouldn't say that. I'd say...
Good, because meat to its bones is what I was gonna fucking say. A piece of shit.
Okay.
No, you're right though. It's not really substance, but like... I don't know what I was...
It puts itself... What is
It's
the
less-
word I'm trying to look
It's less fanficky.
That's one thing. And also it's kind of just... It kind of puts itself out there. It's very dramatic. And so rather than focusing on how things happen, you're accepting that they're happening and now wondering, okay, what the fuck is going on next?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's perfect. That's a good way of explaining it.
And I wonder why it's written so dramatically. Perhaps the author just has a penchant for the dramatic.
Oh god.
That was fun. I'm gonna stop the stream now. I'm gonna stop the Dirk Lovers Union, which is what this stream is now. Or we're still gonna have it be named that. That was a fun stream. Everybody say goodbye.